एम्बेसी का काम देख रहे हैं, हमारे बहुत रिलेशन अच्छे हैं एम्बेसी के साथ, सभी के लिए बहुत अच्छे काम करते हैं, सभी की प्रॉब्लम में हल करते हैं। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद है पूरी एम्बेसी का, एम्बेसडर साहब का विशेष तौर से आपका धन्यवाद है, आपने टाइम निकाल के हमको टाइम दिया है आज। मेरा जो एक निवेदन है आपसे, जो पंजाब के किसान हैं वो हमेशा ही प्रॉब्लम में रहते हैं, किसी ना कहीं अभी फिर बॉर्डर पे धरना देकर बैठे हैं। क्यों नहीं हम उनका कोई, आप गवर्नमेंट हैं, आप कोई अच्छा तरीके से कोई हल निकालें, कोई बातचीत करें उनके साथ, क्योंकि अच्छा नहीं लगता उसको लोग गलत तरीके से, कोई हम धर्म की बात बना देता है, कोई किसको बात बना देता है, मसला कोई और होता है पर बाद में कोई बना और देते हैं। तो हमारा निवेदन है उनसे को जरूर हल करिए जो मसला है पंजाब का जी। थैंक यू सो मच।
जो किसान का विषय जो आपने कहा, देखिए आप, ये जटिल विषय है क्योंकि आप जानते हैं कि जो मुद्दे जो हैं इतने आसान नहीं हैं। सरकार की ओर से मैं ज़रूर आपको कह सकता हूं, क्योंकि मैं मंत्रिमंडल का सदस्य हूं, मुझे पता है कि जो भी मंत्रिमंडल में जो बातचीत जो होती है, संसद में जो बातचीत होती है, वो बहुत सकारात्मक होती है कि भाई हम इन लोगों की मदद कैसे करें। आपने देखा है कि एमएसपी का रेट जो है वो बढ़ चुका है और सरकार की ओर से तो ज़रूर प्रयास होता है, पर क्या होता है कि कभी कभी ये विषय जो है ये एक थोड़ा राजनीतिक विषय बन जाता है, और आपका कहना जो है कि एक बार बन जाए फिर कुछ और भी एजेंडा साथ जुड़ जाते हैं, ये ज़रूर चिंताजनक है। पर इतना मैं ज़रूर आपको कह सकता हूँ कि सरकार की तो आशा है, सरकार की, हमारा लक्ष्य है कि जो जितना सम्मान आज किसानों को देश में मिलता है, ये मैं कह सकता हूँ इसमें कोई कमी नहीं है। और ज़रूर किसानों की जो उनके जो विषय जो हैं, उनका मुद्दा जो है, इस पे ज़रूर सरकार जो है इस पर प्राथमिकता देगी। So starting with your question, as I understood it, your concern was as an Indian citizen, you want the ability to vote abroad, and because you have, of course, the possibility of going back home and voting because you are in the electoral list. So look, here is the challenge. Today, roughly speaking, there are somewhere between 18 to 20 million Indians, Indian nationals. Not, there are totally about 35, 36 million Indians and people of Indian origin living abroad. Roughly 50% are nationals and roughly 50% are citizens of another countries. So the suggestion you are making is really to organize an electoral process for about 20 million people, which has to be done across 195 countries. Because you cannot, give facility in one country and not in another country. I think that is in itself, as you can see, 195 countries, that many people dispersed across, where is a challenge. Now, some countries do it because the numbers are much smaller, and also sometimes the expatriate population are limited to a few countries. So in a few countries, you have a thing that they can go to an embassy and vote. Now, if given our scale, let us say if I were to, even in Spain, if I were to tell Mr. Patnaik, please receive 75,000 people, voters tomorrow, he will have a minor problem. There will be the ambassador in Saudi Arabia who will have to do it for 3 million people, will have more than a minor problem. So it is much harder in a way. Look, I understand the sentiment. People want to vote. People want to be part of the process of change. So it's something which we will have to reflect on. It's not really an issue for which I have a ready answer because of the scale and the complexity of it. Though, Agla, your question, the researcher question. How do we today get researchers to contribute and be in touch with India. In a sense, an embassy is a facilitator. It's a channel. I mean, remember, the embassy itself is an embassy at the end of the day. It's not an academic institution. So what an embassy can do is, it's like if you plug in there, the embassy can direct you somewhere. So where can they direct you? I would say 2-3 suggestions come to my mind. You know that today we have a much greater emphasis on a national research foundation, which will actually function like a motivator of research and innovation in the country. To some extent, I would say it is actually a startup environment. And startup environment, a large part of it is outside the government. These are, you know, young people or not so young people who have ideas, and the culture of the country today is very different. I'll tell you something very interesting. I go around a reasonable amount to educational institutions in India. So usually, you know, minister comes, everybody is on very good behavior, they want to show, they want to impress you, it's natural. 20 years ago, suppose when I was in school, or even when my children were in school, if a minister came, you take the best 5 students and say, okay, these are gold medalists, they get 99% marks. Today, you know who I meet? They will ask me to meet 10 people and say, these 10 people hold patents in our country. Those 5 people have innovations. In fact, very often when I go to universities, they say, please, you know, you can give your lecture, etc. Please spend 1 hour. We want you to show you an exhibition of what our university has done in the field of patents and innovation. So our own system, our own mentality today is changing. That the person who's able to show the success of an idea is given a respect in an educational institution, not by the marks that they may have got. I don't know how they did in class, but I'm happy that they're already being subjected to like a real life test. So a lot of it is really getting connected into that world. And to that end, one of the things we are trying to do, and you know, with Spain as well, that you know, Prime Minister encourages hackathons between countries. It's a way of connecting community of young people willing to, you know, look for solutions in an unorthodox way. Also to connect up, you know, the startup events of different society. There is a big learning out there. But I do think at the end of the day, the solution is really in a peer group answer. You know, an embassy can help. It can provide information. It can connect you. But, you know, it is an area where you have to look at your own environment. And the last issue, in a way, relates to the, you know, the startup. Look, today India's startup culture is very, very, I mean, it's in a good word, it's a very aggressive culture. That the kind of energy, the number of people involved, the kind of respect that they get from the overall society. That is something which has been a very, very big part of the change.